Untangling in my sanctuary. They're kind of tangled in together, Miss Murley and her pretzels. Those are always good. When I first met her, I hated her. My dislike wasn't really for her personally, but rather for the job she had, which was a social worker at my school. I'd had some bad experiences with counselors and social workers in the past, so I wouldn't go to talk to her. But it turns out that one of the best decisions I made in high school was to befriend my school social worker. It made all the difference. I've always had trust issues. Some people call it that. I just call it I don't like many people. If I feel uncomfortable, I'll just sit there, tense, not listening to anything, mentally gone, in another place. I grew up with ADHD. It was difficult because I was always hyper. When I was younger, if I didn't take my meds, I had to stay in the classroom with the navy blue carpet for recess. I would often go in and talk to the school counselor, Miss Martin. Over time, I learned to trust her. Then in middle school, when I had to see the counselor, they put me in small groups with other kids. And I remember, I don't like many people. At this point, I began to understand more about the limitations that my ADHD was putting on me. I was having a hard time keeping friends, focusing, being in big groups of people, and much more. I tried to ignore it, hoping that it would go away. This didn't work, and I know now that was just wishful thinking. Because when does that ever really work in real life? When I got to high school, I was dead set on not meeting with the school social worker, Miss Murley. I had friends who went to her, though, and one day, over what seemed to me like some kind of pointless drama, my friend needed to go and talk to her. I decided to go with her as we were all talking together. I realized Miss Murley was different. I could talk to her. There's a kind of aura about Miss Murley. You know how you feel when you've known someone for a really, really long time, and they know everything about you? It's a relief. After going to Miss Murley's office a few times with friends, I tried going by myself. At first it was once a week, and now it's twice. Miss Murley's office feels like that best friend's house where you're so comfortable that you walk in without knocking and help yourself to anything in the fridge. That's what I do with Miss Murley and her pretzels. I'm always begging her for pretzels, always Snyder's sourdough nibblers. Her office is full of other things, though, like kinetic sand, gum, comfy chairs, and lots of games like Mancala, which we play together often. Miss Murley's became a sanctuary for me, especially when I found out my dad had cancer. I remember feeling almost numb at that time, kind of like how it feels when you're breathing all the air out of your lungs and sitting at the bottom of a pool, not being able to think or say anything. The water is cold, but it feels good because the outside is very hot. Sometimes, if someone is talking and I don't want to listen to what they're saying, I go underwater like this. I hold the side of the pool with my fingertips, out of the water to stay there, and then I push myself under the water into a peaceful and calm reality. The pool's only open during the summer, though. During the school year, I escape to Miss Murley's office. Since I found out about my dad's cancer, Tuesdays and Thursdays are the days I go to Miss Murley's. We do lunches. Food is always involved. After I told her about the cancer, I learned that, especially if you're going through a really hard time, it's helpful to have a person or a place to go to that can make you feel a little bit better. Even if you are not going through something hard, but just minor things, like high school drama. Even if you don't feel like you need it, or if you think needing to go to talk to somebody is a weakness, don't be afraid to ask for help or ask to have someone to talk to because it can really help to talk through it. It's bad to hold it all in and then eventually explode, like a soda bottle shaken up that eventually erupts. Even if at first you just go to play games, like I did, or to take food, like I did, eventually you might get to the point where you just show up, eat food, play games, and talk. Not a lot has changed, but I realize now that talking to someone isn't a bad thing. Just knowing I have a place to talk is a huge relief and definitely is comforting. Miss Murley's pretzels are bite-sized, so they're cool. They're salty. They're sourdough. Honestly, I'd never really liked pretzels until I ate these. But if I'm feeling super anxious, I like to munch on things. Now, I love pretzels. I associate them with Miss Murley. She and her office are my sanctuary and my calm, grounding place to go to in the middle of my storm.